All right, it's yep, okay. It's recording. I'm gonna not freak out for the rest of this, hopefully.
What? Freak out.
No, because I can't see the
You can't see the buttony thingies?
Yeah, well, I guess because I moved the cursor, I can.
Oh.
But when I first hit record, it goes away. And then I freak out. Okay. Hello. Yeah.
Welcome to the Sun Dragon section. Adventure of Liz and Rebecca.
It's an adventure every day.
Adventure.
I'm Rebecca. I am the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in sunny and not quite as chilly as last week, Brevard, North Carolina.
I'm Liz. I'm a minion there.
Yeah, she's actually the weather guru at the shop, but I'm sorry. I'm a perfectionist.
I didn't put that there.
I know. I'm fixing my own, like.
I should just.
She's the weather guru, but I'm the one who can see the window from where I'm sitting, and I get to talk first. So ha 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 ha. All right. Still getting used to the new Zoom updates, which forced me to like squiggle the cursor around so I can see it's recording before I come over here. I'm sure I could squiggle it again. I bet the cursor is at the top or bottom somewhere. It's making it stay.
Nope, I see a little thing up at the top. This is recording.
Yeah, because I squiggled the cursor.
Oh. I don't pay attention to these things.
Why should you? You don't have to. If I don't come in someday and you have to do the show on your own, you have to know what to do. Well, you wouldn't have my computer.
I wouldn't have your computer.
It would be problematic.
Kind of last night when we were gonna switch.
I'd phone in and go, vamp, Liz, vamp. Yeah. Liz was under orders to rest because I was busy doing crap. And she's like, I'm tired of resting. And I said, I'll trade you. But she was also.
So I proceeded to tell her how to finish cooking lunch for today.
She's also making lunch.
And then asked, so how do I send out the email?
And then I started saying, well, you actually could do it remotely. I could give you the password and everything. But there's this glitchy thing in the email where if you're typing in one of the little screens and you misspell something, like in the autocorrect window pops up. If I type through that, like usually you type through that and it drops the right word in place, right? There's a glitch in my email system where if I type through that, it wipes out like the last paragraph I wrote and drops me into another window where my typing continues in the middle of another word. It's really annoying.
Mom said that would be very problematic for me.
Yeah, well, I wrote her that saying you have to type the whole thing without making any spelling errors, knowing it would be problematic. It is problematic for me. Yeah. So it's pot kettle. You know, I'm not like, completely burning you without implying something about myself. So, yeah. So if you got the email this past few weeks and there's a random couple of letters somewhere that make no sense, that's why. I try to go back and proofread and catch it all. Sometimes I don't. And I kind of had a migraine yesterday. I'm in like the post-migraine euphoria where it's like it almost could hurt back here somewhere, but mostly I have more energy to it. So we'll see. If anyone watched my tips and tricks yesterday, you may have seen evidence of it. Although I tried to edit most of it out, which is why my video took so long to publish. It's not a thing. It's so not a thing. But in that email, which I always try to share the email to Facebook, but lately, again, the new upgrade of Constant Contact is glitchy. It's got good things and it's got not so good things. It hasn't been republishing to Facebook very well. But I tried to profile all the awesome last minute purchases you might want to make for people, like not our faraway viewers. You're not going to get it by Christmas. But if you celebrate like the 12 days of Christmas, or don't care when it gets there, go for it. That ship has sailed, I said in the email. The ship of getting things by Christmas time through the mail has not going to go sail. It's Friday. I got the right day.
It's Friday. Oh yeah, it's Friday.
It's
Today's Monday.
Local people.
Christmas is Friday.
Today's our Monday. But for local people who still need last minute gifts and things, there's a lot of fun gadgets and gizmos and things we haven't talked about in a while that I threw back in my email. So, ooh, and I get to pack this up to go out in the mail tomorrow. Look, I even squished the handle down. How's all? Oh, you can see. I even squished the handle down. So this is for Shia. Shout out to Shia. It looks like it's got like a bell button. It was even bigger than this one. I squished it. I got it wet. This is what happens. This is how it comes. This is how these baskets come. And again, this one might have been a little bigger than this one. Like if we said, show the bottoms. Actually, no, it's not too bad. Oh, there's a fuzzy on this one. What? Not a thing. Actually, these might have been about the same size, but squish flat, it looks bigger actually. We have to find, let's see, handle. Squished in handle. We have to find a box that fits this now.
Oh, Lord.
This is why we ask you to pay $10 for shipping on these, because who knows what it's gonna be. The ones that I mailed out yesterday, I mailed out a shoulder bag. That one cost about $10 to ship. The box I found before. I mailed out a little one of these that we put in a Big Sully container, where the box's Big Sully comes in, and that was just under $10. This is gonna be fun. Shai also got other things which we could nestle in here.
We'll make sure that Shia is.
Oh yeah, she'll look it up. Okay, so just so you can see, those of you who order these, and I've typed up a little message, so I'm trying to put in each package that when you get it, what you want to do. This one I had to take home. The other ones I could do in the sink here in the bathrooms. But this one I had to take home, and even then it was almost too big to fit in my sink. I almost had to spray it down in my shower. But you want to spray down both sides. Online they say hot water. Some of the colors don't do so well with hot water, but they'll still be fine. I do like warm water. Spray down inside and out, and even the handle. Like I tried to avoid the leather part, but it'll be fine if you get it wet. But then you get it wet, and then you go to you can totally reshape this any way you want. It's really, really cool. And then you let it dry. My cat stood guard on this for 2 days. And now I think it'll, I think it's already dry, but we might wait until later in the day just to be on the safe side to put it in a box. I had to show that off because that's fun. Yeah. And then we have a smaller one I've deflated, but it was switched out for the larger one. So if someone buys that one, it's ready to go. Yay. So, yeah. So how was your weekend, Liz?
Rusty.
Wait, didn't you just start that last week?
Friday.
She did some cool stuff with the Resty. You get to show that off now. And so, see, it's a mystery. It's hiding behind our mountains of yarn.
I started the Papillon, my last Papillon, with my hand dye and the blue actually that is in Rebecca's way. Hand dye or hand spun.
It was pretty.
It was pretty and it was subtle. And I was going for subtle. Until one of our
Does she strike you as a subtle person?
Said that wasn't me and I shouldn't go subtle.
I mean, she can do it. You can do anything you want.
Yeah. And I was going for subtle. And
then someone said something.
Then somebody said something and she was right. She was right. And so
she made you second guess.
Well, it had sat in a pile of projects for quite a while since she told me it was subtle. Because I was like, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that now. Am I going to keep going? Am I not? So Friday night during midnight, I ripped it out.
The very fact that it went into timeout signified you might have already made up your mind about that. But continue.
I ripped it all out, and over the weekend, well, actually Friday and Saturday, I got it back. Friday night and Saturday early, I got it back to where I ripped out because it was still in section 1. It was like easy. And now I'm
she's a little further now, I think.
halfway through section. Because, you know, I was told I should sit and rest, and I didn't want to rest, but
I needed one of us to have energy this week. We have 3 days. 3. Count them. So we go on break.
I've got just a few stitches left to go. So show off something, and then I will hold it up without the needles tucked in the middle.
Okay.
Easier to hold up.
I think I showed this off on our knit afternoon, our sit and stitch on Saturday, but I hadn't showed it off here yet. I can't remember.
I like it.
This is the this crochet. This is the Richie Newman Whirlwind Beanie. And my little
Netties
are gonna throw the shape of this off horribly, but it's really cool. It does a whirlwind. It does a corkscrew, and it's made with front post, like the spot here. The background is half double crochets, and then the front one is front post double crochets. You follow the instructions, it swirls.
I like how it takes every other set of ribbing and pulls it up.
Yes, if you do it correctly, it bases it off the rib. The ribbing is done with front post and back post double crochet. I think I had that part done when I showed it off last time. But that is how it can look like knitting, but it's not. And here's the cool thing. This is Mirasol Chichi, which is I made my Anchor summer shirt out of it. It's alpaca and cotton. The cotton implies summer. The alpaca, not so much so. The Anchor summer shirt is really more of a spring or fall shirt. Now that I've made it, it's a little heavier than, you know, just the
especially
cotton.
when made with alpaca.
Yeah.
Like we were like, ooh,
yes.
It's got in cotton. It'll be a great summer shirt.
Cotton, woo! And it was
Forgot about that.
But then, okay, so this, again, the cotton, you might think, I'm not gonna make a hat out of cotton for winter. But crochet makes it, crochet makes it thick, and the alpaca makes it warm. And oh my gosh, this might be my new favorite winter hat. So it was supposed to be a little higher even on the ribbing. And you can, she says, keep going to make it slouchy. I had a little bit, I was kind of worried I was playing yarn chicken. And I have like a little ball left. So I was worried about it not being enough for this hat, because crochet eats up more yarn than knitting. But I could have made it a slouchy hat. I could have gone further because the decreases, once they happen pretty quickly. And she has a modified front post double crochet so there aren't as many folds. Because like when this is on my head, I tried to take a picture of the top of this on my head, and it was a little gappy. Because I didn't take the time to learn the fancy modified front post double crochet. But you can do it either way. So, and it's still cool. Like look at that. That's still really cool. So there's some awesome colors of this online. I think they're the website's colors, so it's iffy if they're true representation of color. But this is this awesome mint green that's on. Did I vamp long enough? You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
So yeah,
I have a lot of other things to show off. But
so when I ripped out, I was at the end of that row right there, and now I have just finished the 15 and 16 rows, the 5 and 6.
What I really
pods.
Like this is your hand spun, right?
Yeah, pink is the hand spun, and it's a teal.
But there's pockets of it where it looks like you changed colors, like the way that it changed. It's
really. I noticed there's more
sections.
greens in here.
Yep.
There's raspberries down here. There's creams.
And is this from one of your Paradise Fibers?
No. This was
She took the roving and spun it.
I spun it. It's Heartthrob from Chameleon Fiber.
Chameleon Fiber. Okay. On Etsy, right?
On Etsy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She said it was one of her Valentine's Day colors, and I was like, but it looks like Christmas. It looks like a vintage Christmas with
like
the greens and the pinks.
Christmassy something.
Yeah. And so anyway, it's hard to see the teal, but it's actually teal.
It's a really dark teal that we don't have in the shop anymore because Liz might have bogarted it.
Well, I bogarted it with the knowledge that I needed every bit of it to do my hat, my gauntlets, and this.
Yeah, but when you first got it, you weren't planning on doing this.
Actually, I was. That's why I bogarted all of it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
It just took me a while to.
So my productive part of the weekend was I finished ends are not sewn in, but I finished a pair of socks for Christmas. I have one more pair to go out of this stuff.
Worsted weight socks.
Worsted weight socks. I made one of these like I was up here. This is a cuff down, but I was like right about here when we started the Saturday stitch that was 4 hours long, and I cast off before we finished. I was gonna do all different projects, and then I was like, ooh, challenge accepted, personal challenge imposed and accepted. I might be able to finish a whole sock before the knit afternoon is out, and I did it. Go bam. But I was also playing yarn chicken because when I finished the first one, these are for someone I think would question them not matching, be like, huh? And or that they might be fine, but I figured I wanted to make a matchy. So when I finished, I want to say it's this one. There's slight variances, like the pattern part on this toe is a little bigger than the pattern part on this toe. So I finished this one, and then I tried to get to roughly the same spot in the yarn, which meant I had to ball off this much yarn, because I had to ball off between this spot right here. Self-patterning yarn, by the way, amazing. You just knit furiously and it does the magic work. But here in the yarn is where I ended a toe, and here in the yarn is where I needed to start the next sock. So I balled off these stripes right in here, and I proceeded to make the second sock. And the skein kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
It was
limpier.
The train moment. Am I gonna make it? Not gonna make it. Gonna make it. Not gonna make it. Gonna make it.
And then by counting the stripe repetition that seemed to show up in the words.
Cake.
Post migraine. In the skein. That's the word I was going for. It implied it might. This is how much of the skein I had left when I cast off. So these are for a size 9 shoe, hopefully. I was making some guesses because I didn't really check my gauge. I just made them because I made a bunch of these. I know. I saw that. Look, I did. I made a bunch of these last year, and I think they mostly fit people. But a whole range of people of sizes have to fit into. There's like 4 different sizes you can make these socks according to the pattern I'm using, which is from a book I no longer have inventory in the shop for. So I'll try to get them in next year. But there's like 4 sizes, and there's more than 4 sizes of feet. So you have to take the size foot and look at the measurements for that size foot and figure out which size of sock you want to make. But it's like when you buy socks in the store.
You get small, medium, large.
Yeah, right? So that's kind of the idea.
It's that.
So you can very well, like, that's the cool thing about socks is you can absolutely customize them to someone's foot, but this is a surprise. And I don't have drawings of their feet because that might have given away the surprise. So, but this is how much I had left of 150 gram skein of this yarn. I am currently starting the pair that has to go to the other recipient, who's a men's size 11. That's about what my dad was. This is the same yarn I used for my dad last year, and it took more than 1 skein because the women's size 9, this is all I had left. You do the math on that, the mental math. I'm gonna need a second skein. Now, what would be amazing is if I could find the leftovers from the second skein of this yarn from last year. I have a couple of thoughts about where it is.
You might have enough to.
I might have enough to not have to crack open a second fresh skein of this, but
well, and
it's a big hot maybe because I'm not that organized.
That's the caveat with any sock yarn, is how many socks can I get out of one ball?
Yes, everyone asks us that all the time.
And theoretically, it should be 2 socks.
Yeah, a pair of socks out of a skein of yarn, theoretically. And like this is a heavier weight yarn, but it's also a bigger ball.
Yeah.
It's 150 grams instead of 100 grams of sock weight.
However, that depends on so many different variables.
How big are their feet? How long do they want the cuffs to be?
What size needles you're using? How loose or tight you knit?
People want simple answers in knitting, and there aren't.
We had a lady come in and she was like, I can't get 2 socks out of this yarn for my husband. He has 11 feet. She made really long cuffs.
She was making cuffs that like went to almost to his knees.
And
I exaggerate.
She used bigger needles. She used a 3, and it was like, she goes, I'd get right to the toe and I'd run out of yarn. And I'm like, use less cuffs or buy a second, or there's.
It's one of the magical things about doing 2 at a time toe up socks. Or just splitting your yarn in half. But starting from the toe, if you only make them 1 at a time, but you split your yarn in half, use a scale, use a little kitchen scale, is you just go until you run out of yarn, and that's where the cuff stops. Easy peasy. You may have noticed these are cuffed down because that's what I'm doing. And so that easy peasy is not happening. But I have made that conscious choice. So that's on me.
There is no right way to do socks.
There's the way that you prefer.
There's the way that you prefer. And
everyone has their own answer to that.
Some people get to use 2 balls of yarn and some people get to use 1. It's just life.
And if you really want your socks with really long cuffs and you're making them for someone with bigger than average size feet, then you're going to need more yarn. Plan ahead.
Yep.
So, I said I'm doing so much Christmas knitting. I'm doing some fun side things or getting back to some things I haven't done in a while. All of which I'm maybe hoping that I can finish over break, which is a good time to mention. By the way, we've said it. We were trying to set you all up for this last week that we are you're going on vacation. We're a staycation. But we need a break. We have not taken a break since the world fell apart. I'm tired. I had a migraine yesterday. You've heard about migraines more than once on this show. So we are doing what to me is a slightly terrifying thing of shutting down the shop between Christmas and New Year's. And only terrifying in that, like, the business side of me is like, no, you have to keep going. And the rest of me is like, you need sleep. So, and by sleep, I mean work on all the projects at my leisure. So this was a fun one to get back to for my crochet peeps. This is the Nessie shawl, and I'm using a United Foursome skein that has 4 colors in it. So when I started, I was on, I was on the light gray. And then the last time I showed it off, I was just starting the blue. But here's the crazy thing. What?
It looks so cool.
It's really pretty and looks really fancy and complicated. But once you get in the rhythm of it, you do have to really follow the pattern really, really carefully. But it makes sense.
There's only a handful of patterns that you really, 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 really have to follow the pattern seriously. That one.
A lot of the fancy stuff in here happens from a combination of many rows. And so if the rows are off, then it's not going to work. There is some fudging you can do, but here's the crazy thing. So there's 4 colors in this skein. Equal amounts of every color. And because each row gets bigger, look how much of the light gray took up this shawl. And then the blue, and then I'm already in the dark gray. And I've got dark blue to go. But I'm foreseeing
wind up with like 1 row.
I'm gonna wind up with like 2 rows maybe. This is just past. Okay, so the fancy part right here on the dark gray, I've hit the total repeat. It's a repeat of like 20 rows or so. And the first repeat, like there's some setup in here, and the first repeat ends here, like right about where this line is right here. That's 1. And this is 2. The second repeat has hit 3 colors in it, whereas the first repeat was just the gray, which shows, wow, I keep not being able to hold this up. At this point, it takes a really long time to get across a row. So not much more progress is being made on this before break. But I wanted to show this off. See, look, it can take up almost the whole screen already.
That's going to look awesome when it's aggressively blocked.
Yes, when it opens up just a little bit. I mean, it already looks really cool. The shawl itself said it took like 1,400 yards of yarn. It also had a lot of fringe on it. But it's one of those shawls you can keep repeating the pattern as often as you want. So I'm just going to go until I run out of yarn. And it's going to look cool. The Nessie shawl online, when you look on it on Ravelry, it's done with a sheep geese, I think, which does a fade through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have that. We do have the Langpuno, which we haven't put up online, which kind of does more of a fade than this, but I still thought this would be cool. The Langpuno is 800 yards.
800 meters.
She's here to fact check me.
It's my favorite.
So it's over 800 yards.
Yes.
Suck on that. No. It's about 880 yards then, because head math says add about 10%. So the reason I was bringing that up is this is 1,500 yards. So this is a lot more. It's a little thinner. It's a cotton wool blend. The other one is luscious, like alpaca and merino and silk. But you would need like 2 of those to equal one of these. And this is a much lower price range. So I don't know how much of any of this I can get up online though before break, because a break implies I won't be doing work, which will be very hard for me. So
even though she waffles between doing work and not doing work on break. I know.
I might do little bits of work on break.
I've played this game.
But the problem is I had to come in here over the weekend twice to just stop by and get things. And I had to hide from people.
Yes.
Like I can't get work done in the shop when we're closed down because people will see movement in here and they will knock on the door.
But you're here.
But you're here. We're closed, but you're here. So yeah. And I'm trying to see. I worked on a couple other shawls this weekend. I don't know if but I can remind you, it's like things we haven't done in forever. Oh, and then there's the fun thing I started this morning.
You started?
It was my morning meditation because, something different. What's wrong with me starting?
Sweater?
No.
Shawl?
You can't remember, can you? I'll show it now.
Oh.
I started my faux fur.
That looks squishy.
I look like I have a beard. So you wore your cape made with Cascade Furlicious, which is a discontinued yarn we talked about last week. We have like random colors left in the shop.
And by random, it's the zebra. We have the zebra left.
Which only a handful of people are going to love because it's just black and white. Woo! And could look like a cow or could look like a zebra, and it's really hard to predict. So, which again, if you love furry cows, it's perfect. But it's a little strong for for what I'm gonna wear. We were given a sample of this a long time ago. And after we filmed that this is Knitting Fevers for real. It's kind of basically the same thing. It's faux fur. It's this yarn. Look, floofy, not chenille. I want to make absolutely clear this is not chenille because that gets me on a whole nother tangent I will not talk about today.
Theoretically, it's an eyelash yarn.
It's a really fluffy, short eyelash yarn because eyelash yarn also is something don't even get me started on.
No. But theoretically, that's how it is. It's a strip with all the little hairs attached.
Like here is the strip in the back and here's the floofy on top. But the cool thing is you knit with it. You can't see the stitches really. This is on a 15 needle. Like if you really grind in there and feel it, you can feel the strand it's attached to. But if you just lightly fluff, oh my gosh, it's so soft. It looks like a fur muff or something, right? And so we were talking afterwards and it's like, well, there is that other yarn, but I don't know. And you might have said, I want to make another cape.
I might have said that because I probably want to make another cape.
When we had this yarn in the shop last year, it was like awesome 1 skein project. 2 skeins gives you an infinity scarf or an actual scarf. Like I have this much left, so I can make a pretty, I'm using a pattern from, I'm going to finish the sentence eventually, I promise. I'm using a pattern from Church Mouse Yarns, and it really is just a fake fur cowl, and it's 40 stitches, and you just knit and knit and knit in a circle until you have this, she says 2 yards left. Yarn chicken, cast off either when you like the height or when you think you have enough yarn left. It's even easier. The one I made last year was knit flat and sewn up. This is even easier because you're just knitting in a circle. And it said to use 16-inch, and I had to muscle my way through the first row on a 24-inch. But I have a little more flexibility and room on the 24-inch. Once you get going, it's super easy. Super excited. This is one of the colors we're getting in. But I mentioned on my my morning meditation, gotta find words, and I'll mention it here. This is a little bit of a tease because we ordered that yarn like last week.
Yeah.
Was it only last week?
I think
We
so.
ordered that yarn in a variety of fun colors. But see, this is the sample I have. So, and we did order this color. So this is the one that I'm making the sample of because I can. But it's a tease because we don't know when the yarn's coming in. It could be before Christmas. So local people, you know, watch social media or watch this because we'll tell you if it comes in. Because we're only here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. It could come in. They had a snowstorm up in New York. That's where the yarn's coming from. So it might not come in until we're on break. In which case, this is not the last minute Christmas present you've been looking for. This is something really fun to make for winter knitting because, oh my gosh, it's not like wool. It's a synthetic, but it's just even holding this. It's warm and soft and yummy.
Just wearing my cape, just down to my shoulders or my shoulders, my elbows. It is so warm, and like I did it on a 15 or an 11, 13. I don't remember.
This is on a 15.
It's lightweight and warm.
Yes, the label says you can use anything from an 11 to a 17. They're recommending you can use whatever you want on it. For a crochet hook, it's a M to a Q. You know, like look at these pictures, like muffs and hats, and I think someone's made gloves with these. Ooh, just for warmth, not for like functionality. But I have no idea where the one I made last year is, and that color we don't have anymore. So now I've got one in a color we carry. I have hopes and dreams and visions of maybe some of we got the for real comes in fun exotic colors, like not colors found in nature. And the one we had from Ferlicious. Yeah. Because here's the crazy thing is we can't predict what the colors will actually be. We buy them from a website. You know, if Eddie, shout out to Eddie, bless his heart, if he could visit us, which we won't let him because COVID, he could probably show us actual colors or color cards, which would be photos that might be a little closer than what we see online. But in the meantime, we take a gamble. And we've ordered like a whole slew of colors. Again, 1 skein, which is going to be under $15. I want to say it's going to be closer to like 11 or 12. 1 skein can make lusciousness. So, yeah. But it's a little bit of a tease because you can't buy it right now because we don't have it in the shop. It's not even that we don't have it online. We don't have it in the shop yet. I'm getting ready.
I've promised to at least look at the colors and let people have some before Here's
what we're going to do. She's promising not to bogart, but she really wants to make stuff. Whatever colors you pick, I'm going to buy more bags of. Because A, she's going to use a bunch, and B, people are going to want the same color she has because it's going to be awesome. So,
but I will wait.
I tested just getting 1 bag, which is 10 skeins for people who don't know.
It's 10 skeins?
I think this one's 10 skeins.
Because the other one was like 5.
I know.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
So maybe I don't have
We can discuss the math of this later. But I would, yeah, I'm pretty sure we get 10. I'm pretty I wouldn't have just gotten one bag if it was 5 because that's just sad. But anyway, if it comes in this week while we are airing, we will let you know and we will show off the colors and it will be amazing. Because you know it can't always be about the super fancy ones. It's got to be about the fun ones too. So, okay, now this is going to be totally just a downhill fall from that, but because it's not quite as exciting. But in case you want a reminder of other projects I've been working on,
Because you rotated through projects.
I did.
not.
Well, and part of that, my morning meditation kind of forces me to, which means each time you see it, you see little progress instead of whoa, look how much she did. So, but that gets back to the whole people want definite answers about stuff, and it's like, how long did it take you to knit that? It's like I don't knit the same pace you do, and I have a different number of projects on needles.
Well, and we don't tend to be monogamous knitters.
Oh.
And when we are, it's like after months of flitting between like a billion different projects, and then we should finish this one project.
Like I'm not going to show anyone any of my sweaters today because there's not enough progress on any of them to warrant showing them. But maybe after break, I'll have all my sweaters done, and you'll have to wait. And I will just showcase one a day. My moment was the New York Times had an article about knitting just last week. It was published on like the 18th or 19th, and I put it in the newsletter, the link in the newsletter. But they talked about that, like it was like, hey, here's something you can pick up during the pandemic if you haven't already. Like forget the baking or whatever, or add this to your repertoire. But they talked about progress versus process. Like they actually delved into like some of the ethos that is knitting. Like some people just like to make stuff, and some people like to finish things. And it talked about how knitting has been good for communities, you know, because it is a community thing. It can be, if you want it to be, and how a lot of local yarn shops have had to go virtual during the pandemic. And I was like, yes. And it was really cool. It was very affirming. Like for a lot of you out there, if you read this article, you might be like, well, yeah, of course. But to have that recognized and put out there for people, the general public, to read, who may not be as familiar with knitting and crocheting, I thought it was pretty cool. So I'll try to put the link in the description, so you can take a peek at that. But it was just like, vindication. Yeah. Because that takes me back to the thing I might riff on Thursday about the big chunky blankets. But hang on to that. So anyway, this is the Euclid Shawl. If y'all are still looking for some shawls to make, this is the Euclid Shawl, which has these wonderful lattice work cables and lace work in it. And this was supposed to be a, hey, look, I've got an awesome fall shawl in this wonderful fall color. And it's December. It's almost the end of the year, actually. And I can feel it. This is my tip is coming off.
It'll be a wonderful summer.
It'll be a wonderful next year shawl, maybe for fall. This, I'm just over, I haven't counted this recently, but I want to say I'm nearing like 100 stitches. A lot of my shawls, which only get bigger every other row, one stitch every other row, they need to go to about 170 stitches before something else happens, are stalled out at about 100 stitches or something. So this one, look, you can see through it. Ventilation. It's very pretty. It's the Euclid Shawl by Isabel Kramer. She doesn't just make sweater patterns. So that's a fun one. And then and I'm using Juniper Moon Patagonia on this.
So squishy.
Squishy, DK wonder, light DK wonderfulness.
It fluffs beautifully though.
It does. I haven't done a morning meditation on this, but I moved this to longer needles because it's going to need it. This is the Honey Moss with my little cable needle stuck in here so I can find it again. This is the Honey Moss by Andrea Mowry. in Berroco Ultra Alpaca. The lower half of this is a wonderful honeycomb cable pattern. And the last section of this is going to be lace work, and I'm super excited, and I'm on my second skein of yarn. I want to say this one takes like 3 to 5 skeins of yarn. It's big, but it's awesome. And I love this color. It's like this luscious grello, but more green than yellow, and it's just, Ultra Alpaca's got all these kinds of fleckies in it. It's really, really pretty. So I love cables. So these are different versions of cables. This one's all mushed, so you can't even see it right now. This has 1x1 cables. This one has 2x2 cables. It's just where the stitches trade places, and using a cable needle can make that easier. Some of the small ones you can do without a cable needle, but you know. I think that's all that, like, I realized last night, because yesterday, oh my gosh, I finished up my review of Mosaic, not Mosaic, brioche knitting for my tips and tricks, and drawing that and knitting that and filming that and editing that took a really long time, and then waiting for it to upload, and then accidentally uploading it to an old YouTube channel that I don't use anymore meant it took a while. I didn't get up till like 8 o'clock last night. And then I had to work on my newsletter, and having a migraine meant getting that done meant not napping, which might seem counterintuitive, but not for me. So it meant I didn't do any knitting yesterday, basically, except for starting this. This was my reward for getting all my work done yesterday. So, yeah. So that's all the progress I have on things. Liz made progress on one thing.
I made progress on one thing.
I made little bits of progress on a lot of things.
I should have worked on other things. Oh, Friday night, before I ripped this out, I finished another project.
You did?
I did.
Do you have it?
I did.
Mm-hmm. I'm like looking at the dress.
It's my hat. I finished my hat. It took forever.
Yay! She made the pom pom on during tassel during knit night, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So it's hand spun and
baby butts and
unicorn kisses.
Otherwise known as Puyu.
Yes.
From Amano. Yes.
So I did that.
That's awesome.
And then I was
Her gnome hats are fantastic in the winter. You have to show off more gnome hats in January. Ha ha.
Oh, I will.
I'll show off some sweaters that are hopefully done, and you'll show off some gnome hats. And we just got our 10-minute warning for the first appointment of the day, which is at 10 o'clock. And we should probably get ready for that, because there were no notes. When you sign up for an inside shopping appointment, you can let us know what you're looking for, so we can get it ready for you and make your shopping experience wonderful. And this person did not put any notes, so we need to get ready for we don't know what. So we love you all. We're going to go through our schedule, which is abbreviated because we're about to go on a staycation break and sleep a lot, I hope. And the sad part of that means we won't be filming for y'all. We won't be keeping you company between Christmas and New Year's. But you should go back and watch our old shows and see how much we've changed and how much like our hair has grown out and things like that. So go back and rewatch your old favorites.
Figure out how many projects I have on needles, because I don't remember.
Count them for her. So and how many sweaters I have on needles, because I don't know. But we can still keep you company in some fashion that way. I'll be answering emails as I can over break, but we won't be shipping. The stock won't be open between December 25th and we resume again on January 5th. So prep yourselves now. Get ready for it, because it'll be a dry spell. But we have we're almost at 90. By the end of this week, we'll be at 90 side-by-side shows. So go back and watch old stuff. There's plenty to choose from. Subscribe and tell your friends to subscribe. That will help over break. But anyway, schedule. Tonight is our last sit and stitch of 2020. 6 to 9 Eastern Standard Time. Use the shop phone number on Zoom to get in, which is 828-877-3550. Magical portal will be open from 6 to 9 Eastern. Tomorrow, it will be a special VSC. where if we can, we'll show off some new things, but we'll talk about stuff in the shop. Brace yourselves, get ready. Ooh. I mean, I'm trying to get more stuff up before the break. So VSC is the opportunity for me to show you some things that we can get up online before the break. How about that? Okay.
Thursday is Dear Becky and Lizzy.
Mm-hmm.
I recommend you email me this week.
Yeah. The postal system is in meltdown because Christmas and everything and the world falling apart. So let's not strain them anymore. Send us letters if you want us to talk about things next year. But if you want us to talk about things
this week,
Liz at sundragonartandfiber.com. Okay. And then we're on break for like a week and a half.
Yeah. So
I think
the 5th of we'll be back the 5th of January.
I think that means we're only not filming for a week.
Yeah.
But it might feel like a long time. Watch our old episodes. We'll keep you company. All right.
And keep an eye on social media. You never know when.
You never know if we're gonna do something.
Something.
Happens. We don't have plans, but we could do something. If you subscribe, you'll know. You'll get an alert. All right. We're gonna go. I'm gonna trip over a basket.
Bye. We love you. Stay safe.
Yep.
See you tomorrow.
Yes. Yay. Bye.